Philip Thickness, good old English name, Captain Philip Thickness, in fact, from 1719 until the 23rd of November 1792. He was a British author, an eccentric, and a good friend of Thomas Gainsborough, the local artist. He was in fact born in Staffordshire in England, the son of John Thickness, the rector of Fotheringhay and Joyce, and brought up in Fotheringhay. In later life he moved to the Royal Crescent in Bath and obtained a commission as captain of an independent company in Jamaica, and after 1757 was transferred to a marine regiment as captain lieutenant. The important thing for us was that in 1740 he acquired the Lieutenant-Governorship of Landguard Fort in Suffolk. Thickness had a long-going fight with Lord Orwell, who was commander of the troops at the fort, and another set at Ipswich, and he refused to accept Lord Orwell's authority, and actually that landed him in jail. But Thickness loved that because it made him like the ordinary man, and the great thing about Thickness was he would never punish one of his men. He didn't think it was appropriate to use physical force to punish anybody. You've got to like the man, haven't you? Friends with the Gainsborough family. That included Thomas Gainsborough, the painter, and his brother, the inventor Humphrey Gainsborough. He was an author and he wrote for the Gentleman's Magazine, and he also published, and this is important really, The Speaking Figure and the Automaton Chess Player, Exposed and Detected. There was a machine called the Turk that became very famous as being a chess-playing machine. Thickness gave an expose, not very accurately, of this particular machine. There was a man hidden underneath it, but that's beside the point, really. In 1742, he eloped with Mary Lanover, who was a very wealthy heiress. He abducted her from a street in Southampton and took up residence in Bath with her, taking full advantage of the social whirl that was life in Bath in those days. It was unfortunate that in 1749 Maria and his children, 3 of them by that time, contracted diphtheria, and she and 2 of the children died, leaving only a daughter, Anna, to survive. He didn't help himself because when her parents died, he tried to recover their estate, and that typified him as a person. He spent most of his life fighting against authority. Thickness then married Lady Elizabeth Touchett, the daughter of James Touchett, the Earl of Castlehaven, and the Honourable Elizabeth Arundel. That was in May 1749. They had a son, George, who later became the 19th Baron Audley. For the second time he lost a wife, as Elizabeth died in childbirth in 1762. And his third wife, who was his wife's companion, Anne Ford, the daughter of Thomas Ford, he married in September 1762. Anne was a gifted musician with a beautiful voice and very well educated. She gave Sunday concerts at her father's house, but her ambition was to become a professional actress. Her and Philip Thickness had a son who became Captain John Thickness, 1763 to 1846. The play you're going to see, I hope, is set during the time that Philip Thickness was Lieutenant-Governor at Landguard Fort. Now the play, quite rightly, is set at Landguard Fort. It's led by 4 professional actors with contemporary 18th century music, puppets and community participation. It's a play that's going to be enjoyed by all ages. Peppy, Barlow and Sally Wilden have written the play. It's going to be directed by Anna Birch, who's developed a number of scripts for the Woven Theatre Company and directed the production of Peppy Barlow's Broken at the Pulse Festival in Ipswich in 2005. She's a professor at the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland. I met up with Peppy Barlow at Bencotto's and we sat in the garden in the sunshine. There's surrounding noise, but I'm sure you won't mind. After Dublin, you came back here?
Yeah, I came back and lived on top of a hill in Kent and decided I
Because you come from Kent.
I do come from Kent.
That's a weird place to come from.
It is, isn't it? I
Lots
love
of
Kent.
fruit and not much
Yeah,
else.
lots of fruit and wonderful downs. Wonderful places
Yes.
to see the view, which is not so much in Suffolk.
And you were at the University of Sussex the same time I was.
Really?
Well, I don't know about the same time, but
60.
no. I taught there in 90.
Oh no, I was there when they first opened. We were the second year, so they'd had 50 students, and then I saw the prospectus, and there was just a field. It said University of Sussex. So I thought, well, I'll go there. And it was a fabulous, fabulous time to go because there were
not much more there, really.
No.
I was in education there.
Oh right.
But
yeah.
I don't quite know what I did, but I did things. Yeah, that was fun.
Yes. No. Well, we knew all the tutors, of course, because there were so few of us. And
right.
Tiny tutorials, and no, I couldn't have been luckier, really.
So playwriting. We're now going down to Landguard Fort.
Yes.
Interesting place, Landguard Fort. But I'll talk about that without you being here.
Yeah.
Really, I think. I'll cut that bit out.
Yeah. Well, I've done 3 community days down there in association with the book festival.
Yes.
And the minute I walked in, I thought, this is wonderful. We should have drama here. We should have everything here. And then subsequently, because I've got to know everybody, and particularly Shirley and Roger Brooks, who runs the reenactment group, and he said, well, why didn't you write a play here? And I said, well, what? And he introduced me to Philip Thickness.
Right.
And so then I took that back, who's a fantastic character.
He's quite a character, isn't he?
Yeah. He should really be better celebrated. Yes, Philip Thickness has had a terrible press, and this is basically because he fought anybody of any importance. He had a quarrel with them.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, anyway, where am I? Oh, yes. Well, because he fought with everybody of any importance all his life,
yes.
He got a terrible press. He was vilified by various people. He had cartoons by Gilray, the whole business, which shows in a way how important he. The other side of him was that he would never have his men punished, physically punished.
No.
Because he said that was no way to treat a human being. And he was very much loved by his wives, particularly
3 of them.
3 of them. Well, the first one died of diphtheria. He kidnapped her.
Yes, I know.
On the street.
Met her in the street and then kidnapped her. It was wonderful,
right.
Wasn't it?
Yes, and took her back to his lodgings and had a friend dressed as a priest marry them, because this got over the objection that her parents had. They couldn't do anything then, but then they get married later properly.
Right.
And they had 3 kids, and then she and 2 of the children died of diphtheria.
Hmm.
And then he married an heiress who, which enabled him to buy the governorship of
Wise
Landguard
move.
Fort. Yes.
Wise move.
But actually, I think they liked each other, to be honest.
Because he was living in Northampton then. He had an estate
Yeah. Well, did he have an estate or just a? Because
I don't know what he had.
He was born up there, but I think he was.
There was money in the family
Yeah.
generally, wasn't there?
Well, yeah. His father died when he was 6. His father was a vicar, and I think at that point the family was actually in a fairly rough state. Well, you know, one of my theories is that after that his mother had to rely on relatives and patrons and so on. And I think that's when he felt, you know, a little bit as though the world had done him down. And
So we have this play. Don't tell me too much about it because we're going to it.
That's
aren't we?
right.
That's the point.
Yes.
But you're going to do what's happened there in the past anyway, is a promenade, is it?
Well, it's not too much of a promenade. What we're doing is the first act, which is really about Thickness and his great fight with Lord Orwell, who was the commander of the troops there. That's all in the central courtyard, and the seating, and you know, and it'll all be done.
Good.
You know, opposite as you come through the gate.
Yep.
And the second act, when they travel to France, will be in the outer circle, you know, where the grass is.
Oh, really?
And so on. And there'll be food out there and the bar, so people can come and eat before the play, but they can also, then they'll go out at the interval.
All sounds very encouraging so far.
Yes, and they can go on drinking through the second act. You know, it's a French village scene, so we want the feeling of it being a little village and everybody sort of being part of it. And then we come back to the centre just when he dies, when he's to say goodbye to the old boy.
Interesting. So you've got our local Mr. Gallant.
Yes, he is the sergeant.
Playing the sergeant. For those who don't remember, he was our police inspector.
Yes. And then
so he's been downgraded a bit since then.
Well, no, and then he's also the jailer.
Oh, was he?
Yes, he said, I've been in the army, I've been in the police. So we took that as a very good indication.
And of course he's a local councillor now,
Yeah.
so that gives him some kudos as being the jailer, because they're always controlling us, aren't they?
Yes, they are, but they have been, to be honest, very generous to us.
Excellent.
All of them. So, you know, we're really very pleased.
Excellent. Well, that's something. So we wish you well. I take it, as you do, that we should be doing a lot more down at Landguard. One of the problems of having English heritage control, it somehow it loses its local feel.
Yeah.
Although whether anybody in Felixstowe would want to do anything, I don't know.
Well, I think, I mean, there have been, who is it? Pantaloons takes their stuff there. And my son was involved in a thing called Where Soldiers Sleep, which was a promenade performance.
I remember it well.
And
that was very good.
Yes. And that lot, because that was all friends of his, not all friends of his, some friends of his from Farlingate. And, and they wonderful actors they were.
They were, yes. It was a very good play. And it's the sort of thing that should be repeated once a year or something.
Yeah. Well, we hope that, of course, the Thickness one will be repeated forever.
I should hope so.
Okay. But I'll be there to do it.
So, where do we go from here? Are you having done Thickness or well on the way to actually finishing it? What are you thinking about next?
Well, the second thing that's come up out of this is that Thickness' third wife, because Thickness was a patron of Gainsborough when he was here.
Yes, he was.
And he sent him off to Bath. He said, you get a better class client there. At this point in the play, everybody goes boo. You know, that's the right place. And then he said, I need somebody to paint, to give myself a flash portrait as an advertisement. And Thickness, we think Thickness, because Anne Thickness, Anne Ford, who was his third wife, was a great friend of his second wife. And he recommended her, as far as we know.
Were they related?
Who?
Anne Ford, second and third wife. I thought
they might have been distantly
they were
related.
Cousins or something.
Oh, right. Well, they were certainly great friends. And so he said, well, what about this, you know, Anne Ford? And it is a stunning picture. And Gainsborough hated painting portraits most of the time because he thought people were twats. But he clearly loved painting this. And she's looking away. She's not looking into the camera, as it were. And she has her legs crossed, which at the time was outrageous.
Good Lord.
And she also played, among the 5 different instruments she played the viola da gamba, which is a very big instrument.
Isn't it?
And
Yeah.
she played it between her legs, whereas, of course, she wasn't supposed to again. So she was quite a one. And
where's this portrait?
Well, I think it's in America. We don't have it. You can see it online. And then when she grew up, she said she wanted to earn her own living. Her father had educated her so well. She had 5 languages. She played countless instruments. She could act. She could sing. And he was very much against this. And he had her arrested twice when she tried to. She organised subscription concerts. And eventually she took refuge with the Thicknesses and had organised 3 or 4 concerts. Came out of it with £1,500, which is about $250,000 in our terms. And then came back to the fort with Philip and Elizabeth to rest, basically. And Elizabeth had her 4th child and subsequently died.
Right.
And she stayed and kind of looked after the kids while he went off and sorted himself out. And eventually they got married. But what we're thinking of doing next is to do a little studio piece of the portrait being painted,
Right.
with Gainsborough and her. Because, we think they must have enjoyed each other's company enormously.
Yes.
They would have agreed about a lot of things. And
Indeed.
and so that's the next thing. And to tour it, if we get some money for it, because we will need a bit of money, tour it round the Gainsborough Constable Trail and anywhere else, because you could do it in a space, a small space.
Pause for a moment. Whilst I say, you'll be taking over from Suzanne Hawkes.
I wouldn't dream of taking over from Suzanne. Suzanne, I must say, I loved her tour this time. Absolutely loved it. And she had a piece on, she did have a piece on thickness, which of course we were pricking up her ears. She did it beautifully. And I've got the costume that she used for that too. Suzanne loves Felixstowe. There's no question about it.
She does.
And she does sterling work.
Anything else you want to tell me?
I don't know really. Of course, I did write the Sutton Hoo mob. Some people will follow me for that. Will come because of that. And I'm sort of hoping. I'm asking Ivan to come to see this because actually, it could be shrunk down to a touring piece, but we'll see. We'll see. Otherwise, we'll probably repeat it occasionally.
Yes.
Because it's got all the ingredients. It's got music and fun and puppets and da-di-da. So it's in that vein.
Good.
Yes.
Well, we look forward to that. We're going down to Landguard Fort on the 28th of September.
Yes, it's 28th to the 1st of October. All 6 o'clock in the evening. On the Sunday, on the 1st, there's a matinee at 2, and tickets are from Eastern Angles, and they are £12 for adults and under £6 for people under 18.